Oh, hey there. It's been a while. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Bobby. I hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you're watching or listening in from. And yeah, it's been a little bit of time since I've been on YouTube, and I can explain myself and also provide some insights into the future. But since the last time we chatted here on the tube, on the podcast, approximately zero point 0.0 things have happened with the Bitcoin price. Basically, zero point 0.0 things have happened with the price of Ethereum. And basically, the only interesting thing in the crypto world that's really gone on has been Binance moving out of the US or moving back into the US with Binance US, and Facebook's Libra just getting curb stomped by European regulators. Shout out France and Germany for their very flexible government regulations around anybody trying to create money that isn't them. But wanted to pop in and just talk about, number one, some things that have overall been going on in the marketplace in general, and then also my kind of outlook and some plans for the future with the channel and a bunch of other things as well. First of all, though, want to give a shout out to my friends over at eToro for bringing this episode to come to you guys. CryptoBobby.com/eToro if you want to check them out. While a lot of other exchanges, crypto exchanges, are leaving the US because they're afraid or whatever, not innovating, not doing much, eToro has started operations in the US within the past year. They've been around for over 10 years, and they're actually innovating with social trading and a bunch of different elements that really make for a very interesting experience, much more so than a lot of the other copycat exchanges out there. So if you are in the US or if you're international and you haven't checked out eToro yet, go to CryptoBobby.com/eToro to get started with that. And yeah, thanks again to those guys. But what the hell have I been up to? It's been like 2 weeks or so, and it has been mostly me sitting right here in this exact seat on the phone, basically 24/7, or not necessarily 24/7, but pretty damn close to. I have been really, really busy with Proof of Talent, and if you guys don't know, that is the recruitment firm that I started that works exclusively with companies in the crypto space right now. And I left my full-time role at AirSwap like 3 months or so ago, and have been doing this full time. And number one, I just want to say shout out to anybody that has ever or is ever going to bootstrap a company on their own. I've always had a salary, basically since I've graduated college. I've always had a salary. I've always had, corporate security. I've always had all of that. And, doing it on your own, it's fucking scary sometimes. And it is, it's really interesting, and every single day is a whole new thing, and it's a ton of fun, but it's also, a lot of ups and downs, and have been just kind of going through that cycle. And as I've been going through that cycle, I've onboarded 10 different customers in the past few months, so now working with a bunch of awesome venture-backed companies in the crypto space that I count as clients in the Proof of Talent world. And I've personally just been struggling with, how much time should I be spending doing things like YouTube and the podcast versus spending just, diving deep into recruiting, because, these companies now trust myself and trust Proof of Talent to provide them with solid candidates. And if I'm not doing that, should I really be spending time doing anything else? So that's kind of been, just being super honest, the big reason why I haven't made as much content recently is I've been doing my best to find the balance between, hey, I started this company and I'm trying to be successful, and I'm trying to make sure that my clients are successful and that they're happy, and that the candidates that I work with are successful and that they're happy. And hopefully, if you watch the channel and you've gotten a chance to work with me so far, hopefully I've delivered some level of results for you, or you've at least enjoyed the chance of working with me so far. But yeah, that's been the biggest challenge right now so far for me. It's just been balancing that, and even taking it a step back. I was out to coffee the other day with one of my friends, and he was kind of asking, do you ever think about starting a decentralized company in the space? Did you ever think about doing anything like that? And to me, the answer is like, no, never, like never, ever, ever. I've always been my first job out of college was in recruiting, and then I've worked in software sales basically ever since then. And I've always been a service/sales type guy where that's kind of been the bulk of what I want to do and what I want to deliver. And I think it is super appealing for a lot of people and attractive to be like, hey, I'm going to start this new project that's going to be whatever it is. It's going to be a wallet, or it's going to be this decentralized service, or it doesn't necessarily matter. It's going to be decentralized toilets partnering with Tron. Who the hell knows, right? But that's just never been appealing to me because I feel like doing what I'm doing as on its own is a massive risk. It's a massive career risk, but it's even more of a massive risk when you're doing it with some type of random technology that 99% of the people on the planet have never heard of. So that's been the tough part on my end as far as just balancing things out, and hopefully you guys can understand. And to that end, I want to make things more regimented in the future. I've been trying to do my best to just be regimented with my own schedule now that I make my own schedule for the most part. And to that, I'll be making videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from here on out. So expect videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if something crazy happens to the blockchain space, we'll always hop on live or something like that. But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from here on out, your boy will be making a video popping on and just kind of even giving you more of a view into the overall business side of things of what's been happening. So hopefully that'll be somewhat interesting, because that's been part of the challenge too on my end is, when you look at content on YouTube, you look at all these, there's a lot of people that make content now. There was a lot of people before, but there's a ton of people that make content now. And what do most people want to see when it comes to YouTube? What do most people click on when it comes to YouTube, especially in the crypto space? Is they want to know whether the market's going to go up or down. That's it, right? That's what matters. For the most part, 99.9% of the people on YouTube have no idea if this shit's going up, down, sideways, in circles. Zero clue. Absolutely zero clue. So I don't want to sit on here, and most of all, for me, I have absolutely no clue whether things are going up, down, or sideways. So I'm not going to sit on here and be disingenuous with anybody and pretend like I do, and pretend like I have some type of, ball that's going to fucking tell me which way it's going to go and which way things are going to move. So I try to always be true to myself and true to you guys, and hopefully, that type of thing helps out just in the long run and is appealing for you guys. So that's kind of where my head's always been at. And especially as I've gone down this process of building a business that I really hope scales, and doing my best to make sure that I'm servicing the candidates that I work with and the clients that I work with to the best of my ability, while still balancing expectations that there are people that hopefully still want to see this type of content. So, like I said, coming back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting next week, we're back in it. But what's been happening this week? The big news, really, like I said before, has been Binance and Facebook. And I think when you look at Binance has always been interesting. And it's interesting how public perception can sway pretty quickly on people and how that can be a fleeting thing. I think public perception in many cases can really be determined heavily by token price. And BNB has gone down a little bit, and BNB, as most people would have assumed, BNB is not initially listed in Binance US. So I think some people gave some pushback to Binance around that. I think that it'll be interesting to watch how they really play things out, because traditionally they've been a little bit fast around. They've been a little bit fast with regulations, and they've also been just quick to execute. And some people who are more conservative, when they look at certain aspects of regulation and things like that, might look at that in a very negative light. But now you're seeing Binance really directly competing in the US with Coinbase, with Gemini, with Robinhood eventually, with things like eToro. So you're having this pretty concentrated regulatory battle, or battle of regulated exchanges now in the US. And CZ has always been one that's executed incredibly well. They came out of nowhere in 2017 to crush it. So for me now, the big thing to watch is are people going to move over? Are United States residents going to move over that have used Binance in the past? Are they going to move from Binance to Binance US, and is CZ that fantastic of an entrepreneur, or was he playing on a different playing field than the rest of the entrepreneurs in the world when it comes down to the crypto exchanges? So that's something that I'm watching. On the other end of the spectrum, you got Facebook and Libra, and Libra is now supposed to launch at like the end of 2020. I am still fairly doubtful as far as if and when Libra will ever launch. France in the past day, and so did Germany, but both France and Germany came out and said, Libra, no, you're not coming here. You're not allowed to be in our countries. And the only people that are allowed to make money in this country is us, which is funny because it does show, number one, that they view anybody else trying to compete with them as, a terrible or a bad actor. So number one, I do think governments are scared of Libra. And I do think that more governments are going to come out now that France and Germany have come out and said, hey, we're not going to trust this. We don't trust you guys. And this is our job. We know better than you, and we're the only ones that can make money, and you can't do that. So number one, I think more governments are going to come out, and I think this whole just Libra thing is going to go to shit. And we'll see what happens there. But again, that goes to the point of decentralization, and really, honestly, true decentralization to the point of a Bitcoin, and to a lesser extent Ethereum. But now Ethereum, I think, has over time become more decentralized as time goes on. But really, just to the point of Bitcoin, of being a truly decentralized money, and that is what I think Bitcoin is, and why it could never just have the pullback that you've seen with Libra from these governments, because there is not anybody from Bitcoin that you could drag in front of Congress. You couldn't drag them into a Senate hearing. You can't send a cease and desist letter to Bitcoin. That is not something that you can do, and that is still and will continue to be Bitcoin's biggest advantage, is the distribution and it's a terribly overused word, but decentralization of the money around Bitcoin. So I do think that what you're seeing with Libra is the problems that you see with Libra are pluses that you see with Bitcoin. And you always want to take that into consideration, and especially when you start to think about some of these other projects that are quote unquote decentralized. If there is somebody that they can call in front of Congress, that they could send a cease and desist letter, are you really decentralized? The answer is probably no. It's probably not. It is not. So that is what you're seeing now, is a huge selling point for Bitcoin, and will always continue to be a selling point for Bitcoin in my mind. It's something to just keep an eye on, because I do think governments are threatened by this, and they should really be more threatened, in my opinion, by Bitcoin in a lot of ways. But it's a lot easier to pick on Facebook in this scenario, and also you get political points for picking on Facebook, because at this point in time, like, Democrat, Republican, whatever whatever parties are in Europe or in Asia, nobody likes Facebook. Everybody, wants to just use beating up on Facebook as a political gain. So in addition to being threatened by Facebook, you also get street cred for ripping Facebook to shreds. So you have kind of the best of both worlds in that scenario. But like I said, I wanted to pop in, just give you guys a quick update as far as what's been happening in my life, and or really lack thereof, as far as I'm literally just working at this point in time, and it's super, super exciting. I'm taking private jets, I'm flying all over the world, I'm just absolutely crushing it. And then by that, again, I mean I'm sitting at my desk and I'm not moving, and I'm talking on the phone all day, and some days I'll go down to the gym and I'll hit the weights, and that'll be great. So that's pretty much been where I've been at for the past 2 weeks. Apologies for the delay. We're back on a regular schedule again for the first time in a hot minute, but I hope you guys can appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the commentary. I would love to hear your comments in the YouTube channel below. And if you're on the podcast, always hit me up on Twitter. Peace.